last night over the Tampa Bay Lightning. They go back into a tie for first in the Atlantic, but they have one more game played. So if you open up the standings, you will see them in second for now. And hot on their tail is Montreal, who has been hot recently. They just lost an 8-game winning streak. Eric Engels joining us now on the West Her Hotline from Sportsnet. Thanks for coming on, Eric. How did that soundbite hit you? The Toronto president talking about Montreal and Buffalo in that way when kind of explaining away the season.
Well, I don't know about the not seeing the train coming part, but I would say it was one of the few accurate things he said during that press conference.
Right, that's right. I don't know that Montreal also, like the Sabres, I would say that is true of. That came out of left field, especially by December. No one thought this was going to happen, but I don't know. Haven't the Canadiens been building up to this? Like, I don't see their season as being this crazy stunner.
Is that a rhetorical question?
I guess a bit.
Yeah, it sounds like you saw it coming. Look, I also think outside of Buffalo, a lot of people year after year saying, like, they're coming. And then they arrived, It took a while. It's funny, as they were getting really cooking earlier this season, they were in Montreal and played a great game here. And I walked in the locker room after and talked to Jason Zucker, and I was like, what the F took so long here? And
right.
He looked at me and said, we've been asking ourselves the same thing. Like, we know we had it. We know we have it. And I don't know, just sometimes it takes some sort of unexpected spark to light the whole thing up. But, man, they've been on fire ever since. It's been really impressive. I sat down with Jarmo Kekalainen at the GM meetings and wrote a piece just about the ascension of the Sabres under his watch. I think Kevin Adams obviously deserves a lot of credit, and Jarmo spread it as he would. He spreads it to everybody. This is a team that, aside from proving it to everybody else, has proven it to themselves. That's the big thing, right? Like that confidence swell that you see from the Sabres is well mirrored here in Montreal too. Like a young, confident group that's grown together and understands under Marty St. Louis what it takes to win games. And now we'll find out if either team understands what it takes to win them at the most important time of the year.
Yeah, I think the Sabres players too are talking a lot about these Lightning games. That same line of thinking, like proving it to yourself, and we can do it against teams we'll see in the playoffs. 3 straight wins for the Sabres against the Lightning, and Montreal just beat Tampa as well recently. So when you look at the Canadiens, like, I guess what was that spark for them? Like, why has this season really gone the way it's gone, just in a general sense?
Yeah, because I don't know if in their case I would describe it as a spark, right? Like, it's just been a steady build. They entered into this rebuild cautioning everybody that it wouldn't be a linear process, but it's been quite linear. It's been one foot in front of the other with very few side steps in between, and none really backwards. And when you have a young group and the nucleus that all grows together, it's that helps. When you have great veterans around to shepherd those young players, that helps too. And when you have everything up top from ownership down through Jeff Gordon and Ken Hughes, through Marty St. Louis and the development staff and the rest of the coaching staff, kind of filter this uniform culture through, and then have the players build it up and maintain it and respect it like they would their own house. Well, that's when you have a recipe for success. And I think the Canadiens have been very successful. Like, it's been steady and strong and extremely impressive, honestly, to see them 4 years into a rebuild build on an unexpected playoff berth to a 100-point campaign by Game 76 and clinching a playoff spot in the most ridiculous race I've covered in 18 years. It's hard not to be impressed with what they've done.
Right. To clinch where, the pace is at like 97 points to make the playoffs, and to clinch with a couple of weeks to go is definitely, it's impressive for both teams. Montreal, the talent at the top, how much has that really been the reason? Like, Suzuki has been incredible all year, but Caulfield's season and Hudson arriving, and I can go down the list. Slafkovsky, Demidov. The young talent really taking over seems, from my vantage point and from the outside to many, I think, kind of to be the catalyst. But I don't know, depth-wise and playing in their own end, like how well-rounded do you see them being?
Pretty well-rounded. And look, like all those guys are great individual talents who wouldn't be as good as they've appeared this year without each other. Structure, collective game, very good. From the outside looking in, without watching them through a microscope like I do on a daily basis, they spend time in their own zone. Doesn't mean they're bad in there. Like, they've actually become quite good in there. They suppress the type of opportunities we saw in the early season, and they may get outshot, but a lot of that has to do with their emphasis on quality over quantity. So, there are some misnomers about this group. It doesn't mean they're a complete product. Like, I wouldn't even suggest that their window has opened yet, except for the fact that, they've been as successful as they have been this year, and they've been steady, and they haven't had more than one regulation 3-game losing streak all season, and, they seem to be peaking at the right time. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they can't win this year, but they're still, this thing is really only going to open up next year. So it's, they're not a complete product. They still have things to work on and build, but I think they can hang with anybody, and it doesn't matter what I think. They think they can hang with anybody, and that's the key.
I guess looking at the conference, how many teams would you feel like, that would be a tough one in a 7-game series for them experience-wise? Would it just be Tampa? I mean, because that's part of the Sabres' point as well is, just getting here, none of these guys mostly have playoff experience, but they're like Florida not being in the picture this year, I do think can matter to your expectations for what you're going to do once you get to the playoffs.
The answer for me, and it's going to sound like Gary Bettman saying it, but everyone would be a tough one for the Sabres, for the Canadiens, for anybody in that picture that makes it. Who the hell is going to want to play Ottawa in 8th place in the 1-8 matchup? They've been a great team all season when they've gotten the saves. They haven't gotten them for most of the season, but structurally and underlying numbers suggest, they're a very tough out from a 5-on-5 perspective. You run up against Philadelphia running hot into the playoffs. They get goaltending all of a sudden, and they could upset somebody. Columbus has dropped off a little bit recently, but what they did when Rick Bowness took over and the way they play would make them a very annoying opponent for anybody at the top of the conference. At the top of the conference is a team like Carolina. I don't look at it anymore like pick your poison. I actually do look at it as pick your poison, because honestly, I would suggest to you that Buffalo could beat any team in this picture, that Montreal could beat any team in this picture, that Tampa could beat any team in this picture, and they could also all be out on the first round, and I wouldn't be surprised. So, that's the league this year. This has been an insane race. There are 4 teams in the Atlantic, 4, that are likely to finish with over 100 points. 3 of them already have. 2 of them have more, and 1 of them has 100. Boston, I didn't mention them. They're not going to be fun to play against. They're extremely well coached. They have great goaltending, and they're tough and tenacious and built to do some damage. This is not like anything I've seen in the last 18 years. And the first round of playoffs always has that drama element to it. That's what makes the NHL so great. But this is on another level this year.
Right. Is that kind of to say that you don't really think there's a major difference between winning the division and not winning the division for these 3 teams, at least for the first round? I mean, there's obviously home ice later on.
I kind of laugh about it. Home ice is important until you don't have it and convince yourself that it didn't matter. You know what I mean? It does matter. I watched the Canadiens go to the playoffs last year. They looked like they were going to be a dangerous team for Washington. And the fact that they didn't have any experience and were going into Washington for those first couple games, they kind of got shook up. And it was a little too late before they really got into the series. It was a tough series. It ended in 5 games. It probably could have gone 7. But those first couple were determinant in terms of the vibe of that whole series and how it it flipped because of home ice. I think if you're the Sabres, the Lightning, the Canadiens, there is no, let's take it easy here. We're in a good spot. Like you need to be gunning for the top of the conference. You need to try and secure home ice, if only for the advantage that it brings and the comfort that it brings, but also for just to be prepared for what's coming, because all these teams are going to present serious challenges in the first round. And I don't want to denigrate the seasons all three of those teams have had to be where they are, and suggesting that the other teams at the lower end of the playoff picture could beat them. But it's just the reality of this league right now. I don't think it would be an indictment of any of those teams and say, well, what an upset this would be. Like this is a crazy league.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Eric Engels from Sportsnet, senior columnist, and covers the Canadiens. Last thing on Montreal, Eric, for you. In net, DiBiase has been great all year long. Is he, you think, trending towards just being the guy for them in the playoffs? Would there be a rotation? And I guess how trustworthy would he be for you, given that he's still obviously a very inexperienced goalie?
Yeah, I mean, I think he was solid early on in winning games, and the Canadiens were gunning for him. They scored a lot of goals, helping him find his game. I think he transitioned to being pretty good, and recently he's been arguably the best in the league. Like he's just been unbelievable. Put him up there with probably what Swayman has been doing for Boston. The demeanor, what we're seeing from him in front of his net, how he's kind of matured mentally, physically, technically, was unforeseen in terms of all within this season, and he is a rookie. He has inspired full faith at this point. He is the guy. To have Jake Fowler right behind him as a parachute, pretty good option. Guy is fantastic. Just an incredible kid with an extremely bright future as a number one in this league, without doubt in my mind. I mean, the Canadiens have run into the playoffs before with rookie tandems. It's gone well for them. It's crazy, but these two guys have solidified a position in a very impressive way. I know Alex Lyon's been great in Buffalo. I know the goaltending has probably not been to that standard, which was extremely high over the last couple of weeks, but, big win in Tampa and that could flip everything quick. I like Montreal's goaltending with what it's shown of late, and we'll see if they can maintain it. If they do, they're going to be very dangerous.
Yeah, it's another similarity. Like the Sabres were rotating all year long, and in the last week, it's Luukkonen seemingly is taking over the net. Whereas to now, if the playoffs started tonight, there wouldn't really be a question. It would be him. So we'll see if that's still the case when we get there. Yeah,
that's interesting, considering how great Lyons has been this year.
No doubt. I mean, he's had a couple of rougher games in a row recently, and I don't think it can't flip back around in the final 4 games. But, yeah, Luukkonen, I think, is kind of earning that, at least the start of the playoffs. You never know. If you get a bad game, too, then it could flip back around pretty quickly.
Nice to have 2 guys.
Yeah. Eric Engels from Sportsnet with us. Thanks for the time again, Eric, and maybe we'll chat again down the road. I mean, these two teams could easily play in round 1, so.
Yeah, it's definitely looking like a probability.
Yeah.
All right, take care.
Thanks, Eric. Montreal tonight against the Florida Panthers. Sabre fans will be scoreboard watching that one, 7 o'clock. Also, Tampa is in action as well against Ottawa. So a couple of games that matter next to the Sabres in the Atlantic. Extendo Sports when we come back.